Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new early Netflix movie review, and this time we are discussing the new animated sci-fi comedy parody film by the name of America, the Motion Picture, which I got a chance to check out early, courtesy of Netflix. This film will be available to check out on June 30th, and I'm really excited to let you all know what I thought about the film and let you know if it's worth checking out, all in this spoiler-free review. But before we break it all down, make sure you all are following me on all my other social media accounts. If you all are new to the channel, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing to the channel, and while you're at it, make sure you hit that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. If you all enjoy this review, well, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Share this video. It helps out the channel a lot, but also appreciate the support. And in the comments, once you've seen America, the Motion Picture, what'd you think about it? Did you have a good time? Did you have a good laugh? Did you enjoy the story and the characters, or were you let down by this comedy film? Let's talk about it in the comments below. So for me, I remember seeing this trailer a month and a half ago when it premiered, and I thought to myself, wow, this looks incredibly stupid. But the thing that sold me on watching this, and again, shout out to Netflix for letting me check it out early, was I saw the cast and I liked the voice casting, so that was kind of intrigued me. I like when films make fun of, true life events, the birth of America, the founding fathers and all that, so that kind of had my interest because I'm not like a historian per se. But the thing that really got me excited, when I saw that this was created, or the executive producers behind this were Lord and Miller. I love their stuff in live action, the 21, 22 Jump Street and all the stuff they've done. But when it comes to animation, they're flawless to me, whether it be Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, obviously Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and just this year alone, The Mitchells versus the Machines. So that kind of really was my saving point. Even though they're not the directors, whenever they're involved in animation, behind the scenes, executive producers, I tend to love their stuff. So what did I think about this film? Well, first and foremost, I'm not going to lie to you all. As I'm sitting here watching this film, which, by the way, I'm pre-recording this, I'm about 15 minutes removed from the movie. The first 10, 15 minutes of the film, I'm thinking to myself, I am getting extremely old. I have lost my sense of humor because I didn't find this film to be funny at all. It was just like, these jokes are played out. This is too bro-y. This is just like not my cup of tea. All pun intended for when you see the film. But it wasn't until this, to me, is a perfect example of giving a film a chance, believing in the creators, and just going along for the ride, because as the film went on, it became funnier, more creative, and especially once the crew comes together, that I'll talk about this voice cast in a second, the film really kind of comes together. And once you get to that third act, which is like Avengers Endgame, kind of Ready Player One, Star Wars mashup of like conclusions of a film, it all kind of sticks to landing for me personally. So this film, to me, guys, again, this is a comedy, and obviously comedy is very subjective. And I'm not going to lie, not all the jokes land, and we'll save that for the criticisms a little bit here that we'll discuss. But for the most part, it's the creative writing, because what I liked about how this film was handled was not only does it take to account the time period that it takes place in the 1700s, and obviously British and taking over, and the founding fathers, and America trying to, fight against Britain, all that stuff was there, but it's how they infused everyday pop culture references, in particularly from a political standpoint. There are topics and themes in this film that it tackles pretty brilliantly: gun control, classism, racism, all the stuff you could think of that we deal with in society now, not just in America, but across the world. They infuse it and they make it funny. Now, again, some people might be offended because, again, comedy is very subjective, but I found the infusion of pop culture, political pop culture stuff, to be used brilliantly in this film. But speaking of pop culture, the references to normal technology, everyday technology, the movie references, again, I mentioned that this film has a third act that's like Avengers Endgame, Star Wars, Ready Player One, but just the other stuff that they kind of mix into the conversation in the story that we have here, especially with George Washington, his arc, played by Channing Tatum. It was just brilliant to me. I just thought it just all came together, especially, like I said, once you get past that 15, 20-minute mark, the rest of the film just has a flow and a rhythm and a pacing that I just found to be very pleasantly welcome and very surprising, because I was not on board with this film within the first 10 minutes. Let's get to this voice cast, because that's what really kind of brings this film home and really brought the entertaining aspect, starting off with George Washington himself, played by Channing Tatum, who... It's been a minute, man. He's been out of the limelight for a while. I know he's making a comeback this year with a film like this and a couple other projects, but whatever it is, when Channing Tatum gets involved with Lord and Miller, he just has this rhythm and this charisma. Now, obviously, his voice acting is not him on screen, but I felt the Channing Tatum-isms in George Washington, and he actually has a legitimate arc in this film, whether it be his ignorance to stuff that's going on, his relationship with Abraham Lincoln. Again, this is all fictional stuff that we see within this film. Martha, again, all the stuff that we see was just so funny to me, and he actually goes from being very ignorant to being a hero by the end of the film, and I really enjoy what Channing Tatum had to bring to this character, and the rest of the whole damn clue, whether it be his involvement with Sam Adams, Thomas Edison, who's my favorite character in the film, female Thomas Edison, voiced by Olivia Munn. I thought that she was fantastic, and it's all for science, aka Iron Man-ish type of character. I thought they were great. Paul Revere was hilarious, and the RoboCop reference was excellent. Martha Washington was a hit surprise. You know, the small voice cameo that we have for Will Forte as Abe Lincoln, and again, Geronimo Blacksmith, voiced by Mike Miller, Simon Pegg as King James, and I can't leave out Andy Samberg as one of the best villains of the year so far as Benedict Arnold. The cast is great. The comedy with this cast, and when you see this ragtag group of inventors and politicians and future presidents, it all kind of comes together and they kind of form an Avengers team that works so well, guys. So again, the voice casting's there, the infusion of the pop culture, the political landscape is there, and the direction. I'm not too familiar with the director of this film, Matt Thompson, who's known for voice acting. He's known for being producers for a lot of animated shows and directing a lot of animated shows, in particular Archer, which has been a while since I watched the show, but I remember thinking that show was hilarious. Matt Thompson is someone to look out for, guys. This marks his directorial debut, and I thought that he did such a great job of, again, infusing all the stuff I mentioned, making this story so compelling to a sense, hella entertaining. And again, it's just a matter of how they pace this film together, and again, the inaccuracies and historical things that really went down in the real world, but then infusing all the comedy beats and the action beats and the science fiction beats all really came home to me. And also the animation style of this film was pretty great. It's not Pixar level or even a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse type of level, but I thought the animation was pretty good. So literally, I can go on and on about my positives, but let me dive a little bit into my criticisms. I kind of touched on it at the beginning, but I found the opening of the film to be the weakest part of the movie, because as we get past that first act and go into the second, especially that amazing third act, the beginning's a little tough. Like I said, I don't know if it's just a matter of finding its footing, getting the group together, and just the pacing of it all, but just that first half, mostly the first 10 to 15 minutes, just wasn't all that entertaining for me personally. But minus the first act of the film, I was pretty engaged, I was pretty entertained, and I really don't have many other criticisms besides, again, this is based on true events. It's not obviously historically accurate, but that's not even a thing I will put in my criticism because it's meant to be a parody. So only thing I can really think of as far as criticisms, comedy is very subjective. It's not, and not every joke lands, but for the most part, I would say about 70-75% of jokes land for me, which is great because your modern comedies, most of the jokes I don't find funny at all. So I like that the jokes are raunchy. They go to certain areas that you don't like to see in political movies or in movies in general. It offends people, but they actually went to certain levels that I was very surprised with. And it is very violent to say as well. So I mixed in some of my pros there, but those are literally only the criticisms I really have is the first half and then some of the jokes not being all the way perfect. But listen, before I give you all my overall thoughts on my score and let you know if it's worth checking out, make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comments once you've seen the film, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But listen, overall thoughts, American the Motion Picture, to me, is a perfect example of giving a film a chance, sitting through it, enjoying the journey, falling in love with these characters, having a good time. And I really had a good time with this film. With that being said, American the Motion Picture, I'm going to give it a solid, surprisingly, 4 out of 5. Because again, if you were sitting here with me when I was watching this film in the first 10 minutes, I almost turned the TV off because I'm like, this just isn't for me. This is not a film that worked for me. But I gave it a chance, I stuck around, and I'm happy I did that. So let me know what you all thought of this film once you checked it out on June 30th on Netflix. Did you love it? Did you not find it funny? Did you have a good time? What was your favorite character? Mine was Thomas Edison, also George Washington. But what were some of your favorite moments and the characters in this film? Let's discuss it in the comments. As always, make sure to like, share, comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell, that way you don't miss any of my other content. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Hope you're staying safe, and By the way, we're only a week or so away from America's birthday. So happy birthday, America. You guys have a good day, and we'll see you on the next video.